Today, we're diving into Bell Hook's incredible book, Art on My Mind. And this isn't just about pretty pictures. It's a powerful argument that art is an absolutely crucial practice for liberation, a way to heal, and a tool to take back your own story. We're going to start with this line from Hooks herself because it just pulls you right in. A painting, hidden away, but not to protect it. And right there, that one sentence, it just captures this complex, tangled relationship she had with art, a relationship tied up in family, what we value, and what it means to be free. So where did this all begin for Bell Hooks? How did she develop this deep connection to the art world? Well, this first section is all about her initiation, those key moments that showed her why art really, truly matters. Okay, so this right here sets up a core conflict in her early life. For her family, in a working-class Black community, art was just play, It wasn't serious. Her father used to say, you could not eat art. But for Hooks, it was the complete opposite. It was a sanctuary, a free world of color. This was her first real initiation. I mean, just imagine this. You're in a newly desegregated school, a place probably filled with a ton of tension and hostility. But in Mr. Harold's art class, all of that just melted away. He created a space where she and other Black students were seen, they were affirmed, they were encouraged. It was a world where they could truly be, as she puts it, whatever we wanted to be. Now, her second initiation happened in a totally different kind of place, in a Chicago basement, with her cousin Skylar, a guy her family thought had wasted his life dreaming about art. He taught her something else entirely. He taught her how to think critically. He'd show her his paintings and talk to her about them like an adult, teaching her not just how to make art, but how to really see it, to analyze it, and to always, always keep it on her mind. And that idea of seeing brings us to one of the biggest themes in the book, the politics of looking. See, it wasn't enough to just create stuff. Hooks says we have to understand how we see the world and how that vision has been totally shaped by systems of power. This question is right at the heart of her work. I mean, what does it actually mean to look at something? Is it neutral? Or, as she suggests, have we all been trained to see through a colonizing eye, a specific lens that judges and ranks everything we see, especially when it comes to images of race? This quote from a conversation with the artist Carrie Mae Weems is so important. The colonizing gaze isn't just about one group looking down on another. No, it's a way of seeing that pretty much everyone in the culture absorbs, a gaze that reinforces stereotypes and can keep people down. So, if we've been taught to see through this warped lens, how in the world do we fight back? For Hooks, the answer is crystal clear. You make your own images. Taking control of how you're represented becomes a powerful act of decolonization. It's a way to recover what's been erased and to say, no, this is who we are, on our own terms. This idea gets even more focused when we talk about a specific medium, photography. Hooks saw the camera as this incredibly powerful tool, especially for Black communities who had been so systematically misrepresented for so long. To really get this, Hooks tells this deeply personal story. She had one favorite childhood photo. Just one. It was a snapshot of her dressed as a cowgirl. And in that picture, she wasn't just a little girl. She was everything she imagined she could be. Free, adventurous, totally joyful. It was like proof of this precious inner self. And then, on a trip to visit her cousin Skylar, she lost the photo. And this wasn't just a bummer. She describes the feeling as a terrible loss and irreconcilable grief. Losing that one snapshot felt like losing the evidence of her own worthiness, the one image of herself that she could completely and truly love. This personal tragedy leads her to a much bigger question. I mean, it really makes you think, right? Why could one single, tiny photograph hold so much weight, so much power? What does that tell us about what photography means for people whose histories have been constantly denied? And here's the answer. The camera was never just a toy. For Black folks, it became a political instrument. It was a way to document a reality that mainstream white culture was actively pretending didn't exist. It was a tool to hold on to memories, to fight back against being erased. And maybe most importantly, it was a way to create counter-images, to resist misrepresentation while also finding real joy and pleasure in the process. So, if creating your own images is so critical, who gets to create them?
This leads to a really fascinating debate that Hooks dives into, this tension between what we call authenticity, direct experience, and the wild, boundless power of imagination.
You know how a lot of discussions about identity really stress authenticity? The idea that you can only speak from your own lived experience? Well, Hooks pushes back on that, hard. She argues that, yeah, experience is one way of knowing things, but imagination is another, and it's just as valid. Imagination is what lets us connect with other people, to feel empathy, to step into worlds we haven't personally lived in. This quote from the artist Alison Saar, who's featured in the book, just captures this idea so beautifully. Saar is saying that creativity isn't just about recording what happened. It's about tapping into visions, dreams, maybe even ancestral memories. It's about inventing whole new worlds. Imagination is its own powerful source of truth. And the artist Carrie Mae Weems kind of describes the strategy behind this. The artist's imagination isn't just about fantasy. It's a tool to mess with that colonizing gaze we talked about. By taking something we think we know and twisting it, displacing it, the artist forces us to stop, to look again, and to see from a totally new perspective. Okay, this all brings us to our final section, which really ties everything we've been talking about together. For Hooks, art is ultimately a practice of healing and freedom that connects the political, the personal, the body, and the soul. At the core of all of this is the idea of transgression. Now, I know that word can sound a little negative, but for Hooks, it's essential. To transgress is simply to move past the boundaries that are holding us back. It's about pushing against whatever keeps you in place so that you can move forward. So what's the first and most fundamental boundary every single one of us has to deal with? Our own bodies. Society piles so much shame onto our bodies for their color, their shape, their illnesses, their desires. Hooks argues that art is a way to come back to the body, to confront its pain and its limits without all that shame. And that act of just facing and embracing your body is a powerful form of transgression and healing. And this really is the ultimate takeaway. Art and beauty are not luxuries. They're not just for the rich or the elite. They are essential practices of soul care. Hooks reminds us that every single one of us can create a sacred space in our home, in a garden, even just in our minds, where beauty can exist and where our spirits can be moved. So we end with this question, turning all of these profound ideas back to you. After thinking about her visual politics, the power of the camera, the necessity of imagination, just consider this. Where in your own world, in your own daily life, can you use art, whether you're making it, looking at it, or just thinking about it, as your own personal practice of freedom?